And the Oscar goes to Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer.
This is the first Oscar win and 8th nomination for Christopher Nolan.
If you set aside the billion-dollar success and Hollywood's most prestigious awards, what is the greatest secret behind the historic partnership that changed modern cinema? For 2 decades, legendary actor Michael Caine and visionary director Christopher Nolan built what many consider an untouchable legacy.
So whenever he said, "You want to do a movie?" I say, "Yes." He says, "You want to read the script?" I say, "No."
Behind the extraordinary secrecy, the uncompromising rules on set, and even an unspoken agreement that was never made public, there was a truth that surprised even those closest to it. Why did such a remarkable partnership eventually come to an end?
I've had 6 pictures from Christopher, and everyone's was a hit.
And what final words led one of the world's most influential directors to continue his journey alone? Let's uncover the story.
No, it's quite extraordinary working with him, because he also writes it, and nothing is what it seems.
Few director-actor partnerships in Hollywood have endured as long as the one between Michael Caine and Christopher Nolan. In several interviews following his retirement, Michael Caine shared detailed memories of his first meeting with the British director, a meeting that laid the foundation for 8 collaborations and became one of the defining moments of the final chapter of his acting career.
I remember the first time he came to me with the script. He came to my house in the country and he said, "I've got a movie." And I said, "What is it?" He said, "Batman."
According to Michael Caine, the meeting took place on a Sunday morning at his home in Surrey, England. When the doorbell rang, he assumed it was a delivery person or an ordinary visitor. Standing at the door was Christopher Nolan, then in his early 30s, carrying the screenplay for Batman Begins and personally inviting him to join the film. At that time, Christopher Nolan had already earned recognition with Following Memento and Insomnia, and had been entrusted by Warner Brothers with relaunching the Batman franchise. The project marked a major turning point in Nolan's career as he took on his first large-scale superhero film under significant studio expectations.
I'm too old to play Batman. What's he want me to play? And he said, I want you to play the butler.
Michael Caine recalled that when he was offered the role of Alfred Pennyworth, his first response was a joke. He asked whether the character's only job would be to say, "Dinner is served." That had long been the familiar image many audiences associated with Alfred in earlier Batman adaptations.
What do I say? "Dinner is served"? He said, "No, Michael, read the script." It was the foster father of Batman.
Christopher Nolan immediately explained that his approach would be completely different. He said Alfred was far more than the Wayne family's butler. He was the man who raised Bruce Wayne after the loss of his parents. In the new screenplay, Alfred served as Bruce's father-figure trusted advisor and the person who kept him connected to his core values. Instead of sending the screenplay in advance or allowing Michael Caine to read it later, Christopher Nolan brought the only printed copy and sat drinking tea while the actor read the entire script. As soon as Caine finished, Nolan took the screenplay back with him. The process reflected the level of secrecy Nolan had established from the very beginning, long before his reputation reached its later heights. Michael Caine said that this working method convinced him Christopher Nolan was an exceptional director. Every detail was carefully controlled, from the screenplay to production information. No material remained outside the necessary circle. And from that very first meeting, Nolan demonstrated absolute caution in protecting his project. Michael Caine's first impression was shaped not by Christopher Nolan's reputation, but by his professional manner. According to Caine, the young director was calm, articulate, thoroughly prepared, and knew exactly what he wanted from every character. That quality set him apart from many directors Caine had worked with over several decades. After finishing the screenplay, Michael Caine agreed to join Batman Begins. Filming started in early 2004, and the movie was released in June the following year, launching the Dark Knight trilogy. Caine's portrayal of Alfred Pennyworth quickly became one of the most celebrated versions of the character, balancing authority, warmth, and emotional depth. The success of Batman Begins not only revived the Batman franchise with a more grounded approach, but also began a long-term collaboration between Christopher Nolan and Michael Caine. From that point forward, the veteran actor became a familiar presence in Nolan's films, whether the role was large or small. From their very first meeting, Michael Caine recognized that Christopher Nolan stood apart, not only because of the way he made films, but also because of the person behind the camera. His later reflections revealed even more about the British director's character principles and distinctive working style. The secrets of Nolan. One observation Michael Caine repeated many times was, "Chris Nolan is the most secretive guy." According to him, the level of security surrounding Nolan's productions always exceeded what was common across Hollywood. That standard remained in place from pre-production until each film reached audiences.
You have to be with Chris. He's the most secretive director. You know, if I'd have talked like this about the picture, I'd have been shot before it came out.
Caine explained that every actor involved in a Nolan production had to follow strict confidentiality rules. Screenplays could not be shared freely. Copying production materials was tightly restricted, and information about the film was released only on a need-to-know basis. This system remained consistent throughout Nolan's career. On some productions, actors did not even receive the complete screenplay. Michael Caine revealed that during Tenet, he was given only the pages directly related to his own scenes. Everything else remained undisclosed before filming began, minimizing the risk of story details being leaked. According to Michael Caine, this process sometimes meant actors did not know the full story until the film was completed. Even so, he believed it was part of Christopher Nolan's commitment to protecting the audience's experience. Maintaining secrecy remained a guiding principle throughout every project the British director created. Along with that extraordinary discretion, Michael Caine frequently emphasized Christopher Nolan's approach to leading a film set. He described Nolan as someone who almost never raised his voice. Throughout all of their collaborations, Caine could hardly recall seeing the director shout at anyone or create pressure through tension or anger. Michael Caine once used the phrase, "never a raised voice, quiet authority," to describe Christopher Nolan's working style. According to him, Nolan managed a film set through careful preparation, discipline, and clear decision-making rather than authority or emotional reactions. That approach created a stable working environment for the entire crew. Another detail Michael Caine mentioned many times was Christopher Nolan's style of dress. Even while working under demanding production conditions, Nolan almost always appeared in a well-tailored suit, paired with a coat or neatly pressed shirt. The look became one of his recognizable trademarks over the years.
And I have never, ever come across a director who can do all those things. But now I have, and his name is Christopher Nolan.
Caine once called Christopher Nolan the best-dressed director. In his view, very few directors maintained such a polished appearance throughout production. While it had no impact on filmmaking itself, it reflected Nolan's consistent professionalism and personal discipline. Beyond his trademark suits, Michael Caine also revealed one of Christopher Nolan's distinctive habits. The British director often carried a small flask of tea inside his coat pocket and drank tea throughout the day. For Caine, it became a familiar sight on nearly every film set they shared. When speaking about Christopher Nolan, Michael Caine also drew an interesting comparison with David Lean, one of Britain's legendary filmmakers. According to Caine, both men possessed an extraordinary vision and the ability to control highly complex productions. Nolan also served as the screenwriter for most of his own films. Michael Caine believed that writing and directing his own projects allowed Christopher Nolan to oversee almost every stage of the creative process. From the structure of the story and the rhythm of the film to the development of each character, everything was shaped from the very beginning. That approach became one of the defining features of Nolan's filmmaking. Across one film after another, audiences gradually noticed that Michael Caine appeared repeatedly in Christopher Nolan's work. Many people came to describe the veteran actor as Nolan's good luck charm. Nolan also admitted on several occasions that he always tried to find a role for Caine whenever possible. The trust between the two men grew stronger with every collaboration and continued to deepen after each film. That relationship ultimately produced 8 consecutive partnerships, leaving behind countless memorable stories both on screen and behind the scenes. 8 collaborations. Batman Begins, released in June 2005, marked the beginning of that journey. Michael Caine took on the role of Alfred Pennyworth, the loyal butler of the Wayne family. Under Christopher Nolan's interpretation, Alfred was far more than a butler. He became Bruce Wayne's father figure, standing by his side and guiding him through the most important moments of his life. In 2006, Michael Caine reunited with Christopher Nolan in The Prestige, playing Cutter, a stage engineer and expert designer of illusion props. The character served as the link between the rivalry of the two magicians while helping create the film's distinctive atmosphere of mystery. In The Dark Knight, Caine returned as Alfred. The film became one of the most influential superhero movies in cinematic history. Alfred continued to serve as Bruce Wayne's trusted advisor throughout his confrontation with the Joker. Michael Caine once shared that the first time he saw Heath Ledger in full Joker makeup, he was completely overwhelmed. He used the words terrified and chilling to describe the experience. Caine also revealed that he forgot his lines during their first scene together because he was so stunned by Heath Ledger's transformation. Ledger later won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. In 2010, Caine appeared in Inception as Professor Stephen Miles. Though his screen time was limited, the character helped establish the background of Dom Cobb and his relationship with his family. It was another role Christopher Nolan wrote specifically for his longtime collaborator. The Dark Knight Rises brought the Batman trilogy to its conclusion. Michael Caine once again portrayed Alfred in the final chapter of the story. The conversations between Alfred and Bruce Wayne were widely regarded as some of the most emotionally powerful moments in the entire trilogy. Michael Caine also spoke many times about a remarkable coincidence at Shepperton Studios. The Batcave in Batman Begins was built on the very site where he had filmed some of the earliest scenes of his career in A-Hill in Korea during the 1950s. For Caine, it represented a full-circle moment after more than half a century in the profession. In 2014, Michael Caine joined Interstellar as Professor Brand, a character who played a central role in humanity's mission to find a solution for its survival. It also became one of Caine's most substantial roles in a Christopher Nolan film. By the time Dunkirk was produced, Michael Caine did not appear on screen. Christopher Nolan still invited him to take part through a brief radio transmission as the voice of Fortis Leader. Even though it was only a short voice performance, Nolan still wanted his longtime collaborator to be part of the film. 3 years later, Michael Caine returned in Tenet as Sir Michael Crosby. His appearance was brief, though the character delivered key information that moved the story forward. The film also marked the 8th collaboration between the two men, bringing their long-running partnership to a close. Michael Caine repeatedly stated that he almost never turned down an invitation from Christopher Nolan. According to the veteran actor, his trust in the British director was so complete that he was willing to accept a role without reading the entire screenplay. If Nolan called, his answer was almost always yes. While Michael Caine openly reflected on their years of collaboration, Christopher Nolan's life away from the film set remained far more private and was rarely seen by the public. Private life. One of Christopher Nolan's most important companions has always been Emma Thomas. The two met while studying English literature at University College London, where they became involved in the university's filmmaking society. Their relationship developed before they officially entered the film industry together. Christopher Nolan and Emma Thomas married in 1997. From that point on, Emma became her husband's closest creative partner, producing every feature film Nolan has directed. She has worked alongside him from his earliest productions to blockbuster films that earned hundreds of millions of dollars worldwide. Their partnership is widely regarded as one of Hollywood's most enduring creative collaborations. Nolan focuses on writing and directing, while Emma Thomas oversees production, manages budgets, and supports every stage of the filmmaking process. Christopher Nolan and Emma Thomas have 4 children: Flora, Oliver, Rory, and Magnus. Unlike many Hollywood families, they have kept their children almost entirely out of the public eye. The couple rarely shares details about their private life or brings their children to public events. Even with that privacy, Nolan's children were introduced to filmmaking at an early age. Flora Nolan appeared briefly in several of her father's films, while the other children mainly worked behind the scenes. On The Odyssey, all 4 joined the production crew in different departments, working as regular members of the team rather than in high-profile positions. Christopher Nolan is also known for drawing a clear line between his professional and personal life. He rarely uses social media, seldom shares family photographs, and almost never discusses private matters in interviews. Most of his public appearances are tied to film promotions or industry events. His filmmaking style is equally distinctive. Nolan consistently favors practical photography over extensive computer-generated visual effects, believing that real locations, practical sets, and physical effects create a more convincing experience for audiences. This philosophy has become one of the defining characteristics of his work. Another signature element of Nolan's films is his extensive use of IMAX technology. Beginning with The Dark Knight, he expanded its use in Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, Oppenheimer, and The Odyssey, helping establish the large-scale visual style that audiences associate with his films. Beyond his artistic success, Christopher Nolan has an estimated net worth of around $250 million earned through box office revenue, directing, screenwriting, producing, and profit participation. He lives with his family in the Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles and is believed to own several luxury vehicles, including an Aston Martin DB5, a BMW 7 Series, an Audi A8, and a Tesla Model S. Even with that success, Nolan continues to maintain a private lifestyle, allowing his work to remain the primary focus of his public image. A Journey Forward. After completing Tenet, Michael Caine appeared in medieval bestsellers and The Great Escaper. By the end of 2023, the veteran actor confirmed that he had essentially retired from acting. His decision also brought his long-running collaboration with Christopher Nolan to an end. Michael Caine revealed that he told Christopher Nolan one simple sentence, "Okay, enough is enough." At the age of 90, he felt it was the right time to step away after more than 7 decades in the profession. He explained that retirement was a carefully considered decision made after completing his final projects. Christopher Nolan later recalled that conversation in several interviews. He admitted it was the first time he had to prepare a film without Michael Caine in the cast. Nolan joked that he simply had to continue his journey after his longtime collaborator chose to retire. He also remarked that it took a cast including Matt Damon, Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, and many other stars to fill the space left by Michael Caine on set. Around the same period, Christopher Nolan reached the greatest milestone of his career with Oppenheimer. Released in 2023, the film earned nearly $1 billion worldwide, becoming his highest-grossing film outside the Dark Knight trilogy. At the 96th Academy Awards in March 2024, Oppenheimer won 7 Oscars. Christopher Nolan received his first Academy Award for Best Director, while the film also claimed Best Picture. The achievement marked the highest point of his career after years of critical recognition. Following Oppenheimer, Nolan quickly turned to The Odyssey, an adaptation of Homer's epic poem. The film featured an ensemble cast including Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron, and Lupita Nyong'o. Released on July 17th, The Odyssey was filmed on a massive scale using IMAX technology and extensive practical locations across Europe, North Africa, and the Mediterranean. It became the largest production Christopher Nolan had ever undertaken. Within its first 2 weeks, The Odyssey earned approximately $639.6 million worldwide. IMAX once again contributed significantly to the box office, extending Nolan's remarkable record of commercial success. Another notable feature of the production was the involvement of all 4 of his children, who worked in different departments behind the scenes throughout the filmmaking process. Today, Christopher Nolan remains one of Hollywood's most influential directors. His films continue to achieve major box office success, earn widespread critical acclaim, and showcase his commitment to practical filmmaking, IMAX technology, and his distinctive storytelling style. Michael Caine, meanwhile, has officially concluded an acting career spanning more than 70 years. Even away from the screen, his reflections have given audiences a rare look at Christopher Nolan, the collaborator who worked beside him across 8 films and helped build one of the most enduring creative partnerships in modern cinema. The relationship between Michael Caine and Christopher Nolan is remembered not only for 8 successful films, but also for years of trust, mutual respect, and collaboration. Through Michael Caine's rare reflections, audiences have gained a deeper understanding of the filmmaker behind Christopher Nolan's celebrated works and the journey that established him as one of the world's most influential directors. If you enjoy authentic behind-the-scenes stories about Hollywood legends, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment telling us which figure you would like us to explore in our upcoming videos.